Ready to go into the Word of God? Anybody ready to hear Word? So it's 11:58. So that means I got 20. I got 20 minutes to give y'all this message, and an additional 10 to get you out of here. Amen. So I'm going to try to make it as quick as I can. Amen. Amen. So, as you know, we've just come out of the series talking about it's time to birth it. We just come out of the series talking about it's time to birth it. Amen. I don't know about you, but like I said on last week, that series blessed me, and it has been such a blessing. It has been such a blessing that the Lord has not allowed me to let it go completely. And so, yet again, He has given me another sermon talking about this. And I call this series, I guess that we're in now, I call this series a post-series of It's Time to Birth It. And the Lord just calling this one, It's Time. Look at your neighbor and say, it's time. It's time, it's time, it's time. And the Lord has been giving me several things to go back and look at and say to you, His people. The first week He said, it's my time, amen? Anybody believe that? On last week He said, it's time to walk. Amen. It's time to walk. And this week He has given me another lesson to give to His people today. I wasn't sure if I was going to preach anything Christmassy. I said, Lord, whatever you would have me to say, that's what I'm going to say. And he gave me this and what He wanted me to say to you. And when I went and looked at it, I found myself around the Christmas story. So this is, I believe it's fitting for this time. Amen. You can find me in the book of Matthew, chapter 2. Matthew, chapter 2. I'm going to look at verse 13. Look at verse 13 through 15. And that series talking about it's time to birth it, there was some things, if it wasn't birthed in you, it was definitely birthed in me, amen. It was birthed through me, amen, and into the earth. And I believe that God is going to continue birthing things throughout this church, amen. So get ready, TTC, get ready, because there are some offspring that's getting ready to come. Amen. There are some offspring getting ready to come. And look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say, you're going to be the one that produces. Amen. Amen. And so Matthew chapter 2, starting at verse 13, it says, this is the Good News translation. It says, after they had left, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph and said, Herod would be looking for the child in order to kill him. So get up, take the child and his mother, and escape to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you to leave. Joseph got up, took the child and his mother, and left during the night for Egypt, where he stayed until Herod died. This was done to make what the Lord had said through the prophet come true. I have called my son out of Egypt. Look at your neighbor before you be seated and tell him it's time to come out. Hallelujah. Look at somebody else and tell them it's time to come out. Amen. So the Lord has been talking to us saying that it's time, it's time, it's time. And he's really been wrecking my spirit with that sermon, It's My Time. And then last week he did it again, talking about it's time to walk. And then he slapped me with this one, talking about it's time to come out. Amen. I don't know about anybody in this room, but maybe there's some people here that have found themselves in some things that they want to come out of, but don't know how to come out of. And the Lord is telling you today, he's saying that it's time for you to come out. And so I want you to receive this message personally, because I'm here to tell you and to decree over your life that whatever it is that you're going through, it's time to come out. Whatever it is that you're facing, it's time to come out. Whatever it is that you've been fighting and wrestling with, the Lord said it's time to come out. Amen, somebody. And so here in this story, we look and we know that this is around the birth of Christ. And as we look at this story, we can tell that this is after he was born, and there was a king there named Herod the Great. And King Herod, he was the king of the Israelites at this time. And he began to decree, because what was going on was there was rumors about this child that was to come. And the rumors that were out about this child is that this child would be the next king. This child would be the king of the Jews. This child would be the one true living king. This child is the promised child. This child is the hope of Israel. This child is the future king of Israel. And this child will reign, and he will have a kingdom that reigns forever. Amen, somebody. And so with King Herod hearing this and knowing that he wanted to leave the legacy and the lineage to his children, he was threatened by the promise of a child who would be the king of Israel. And so through this child being birthed, through this child being born, Herod did not like the fact that somebody else was promised his throne. Amen, somebody. And so because of that, he wanted to take him out. And so, we find here in this story that through the birth of Christ, it also produced something else. I want you to tell your neighbor, say, when your purpose is birthed, jealousy usually birth at the same time. Come on. Jealousy is usually birthed at the same time, because watch this. Sometimes your purpose will be a threat to somebody else who's already holding the purpose that you're getting ready to walk in. And so when somebody else is holding the position, when somebody else is holding the title that you are destined for, they may become jealous of it, or they may become threatened by it. Amen, somebody. And so watch this. I want to let you know that the fight that you're getting ready to fight, it has nothing to do with you, but it has to do with your purpose. I need a church in here today. Come on. It has nothing to do with you. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they don't like what you're doing. It's not that they don't like who you are and who your folks are and who you like, what you do in your life. But what it is, they don't like the purpose that's on your life. They don't like the destiny. They don't like the place that you're going. And so watch this. This next fight that you're going to have to face, it has nothing to do with you, but it's all about your purpose. And watch this. Some people, they choose to be threatened by your purpose rather than being secure in their own. They choose to be threatened by who you are rather than being secure in themselves. Amen, somebody. And so watch this. What I want you to understand is that you don't have to be threatened by somebody else's purpose if you're secure in knowing that I'm doing what I'm called to do. I ain't got no talkers in here. Long as you are doing what you are called to do, you don't have to worry about what somebody else is called to do. Because watch this. You're not going to leave this earth, and you're not going to leave your purpose until your purpose is fulfilled. I ain't got no talkers in here. And so as long as I'm working in my gift, as long as I'm working in my purpose, I have no need to be threatened by the next person. But King Herod, he didn't understand this. He didn't understand this. What we got to understand is that we both have purpose. We both have purpose, so you don't have to be jealous of the next person. You don't have to be envious of them, but you can understand that whatever God has called me to do, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I ain't got no talkers in here, and it don't matter if you do it a little bit better than me. Guess what? That's you walking in your purpose. That's all right. That's all right. But I'm going to do what I've been called to do until the Lord called me home. Come on, somebody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm the best at it, or it doesn't matter if I'm the worst at it, long as I'm doing what I called to do. I wish I had a church in here today. Listen, God is telling somebody it's time for you to come out. Look at somebody and tell them it's time to come out. And so watch this. King Herod, he had to learn just to be secure in himself. He had his time. He had his time. But when it's the next person's time, you just got to understand that my season is up. Come on. My season is over. And when my season is over, I'm not going to be mad at you for taking my place, but I'm going to help push you, because watch this. Watch this. We're all in this thing together. Oh, come on. I thought I had somebody here. I said we all in this thing together. And if we understand that we are all in this together, then it doesn't matter how good you are at doing this thing. Guess what? You can save 1,000, but if I only save 5, come on, somebody, I did my part. I ain't got no talkers in here. You may prophesy to nations, but if I just prophesy to Columbus, I did my part. I ain't got no talkers in the room. You may sing all across the globe, but if I'm just destined to this region, then I'm going to sing to the best of my ability to this region. I wish I had some witnesses in here. We all have purpose. You just got to learn how to be secure in yours. But King Herod, he wasn't secure. And because he wasn't secure, he made a decree. He made a command that this child be killed. He wanted this child to be killed. And so what he did was he sent out 3 wise men. He sent out 3 wise men. And when they went out, he told them, he said, I need y'all to go and find this baby that everybody talking about. And he sent them, and he told them, he said, y'all just follow that star, and it's going to lead you to him, because watch this, he understood that the star was hanging right above where the baby was born. And so he told them, he said, y'all just follow that star, and that star going to lead you right to him. And so when they got to him, when they got to Jesus, the king sent gifts with him as well, because he had this thing that he wanted it to look like he was on their side. He wanted it to look like he was okay with this. And so they brought the gifts and they laid them before Jesus. This is the reason why we bring gifts around this time. And these 3 wise men, these 3 shepherds, they went and they gave the baby these gifts. But watch this. When they were to return back to the king, the Bible said that an angel of the Lord came to them in a dream and told them about Herod's plan. And because they found out about Herod's plan, they did not want to go back to King Herod, so they went another way. Come on, somebody. And so watch this. It was the dream that they had that let them know that this, what he's trying to do, is not a part of the will of God. Okay, and that's why we call them wise men, because they started out as shepherd boys. But watch this, as they went and they grew in God, they became wise men because they listened to the dream. Watch this. Not only did they listen to the dream, but Joseph, Jesus' father, earthly father, he also had a dream. And the angel of the Lord came to him in a dream and told him, he said, you need to get your son and you need to get your wife out of this country, because the king is trying to kill your son. He's trying to kill him. And so he told him, he said, you need to depart out of this country and go into Egypt. And he said, stay over there in Egypt until I call you out. So watch this. I just got to put a pause right here and tell somebody, you need to start dreaming again. Listen, the Lord, if he worked in dreams then, guess what? He's still working in dreams now because the Bible lets us know that he's the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. And so if he did it then, guess what? He can do it again. Some of us, we just need to start dreaming again. It was in your dreams that you decided to open up that business. It was in your dreams that you decided that now is the time for me to get married and start a family. It was in your dreams that you decided this is the career that I want to take. This is the career path that I want to go down. This is the way I'm going to make my money. This is the way that things are going to line up in my life. It was in your dreams that your destiny came to pass. Watch this. I come to tell somebody you stop dreaming, and that's the reason why you're still stuck in the place you are now. Listen, I come to tell somebody that if you begin to go back and dream again, God will direct your path, and maybe you'll come out on the other side better than where you are right now. I'm preaching and y'all ain't saying nothing. Listen, you ought to tell somebody, I'm going to start back dreaming because it's in my dreams. It's in my dreams where some of y'all may end up hearing from God. Hear it said all the time, well, I ain't never heard God speak to me. I don't know what his voice sounds like. Well, maybe you just need to start back dreaming again. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Listen. So what happened was King Herod, after he found out that the wise men wasn't coming back, he then made this decree to kill not just this baby because he didn't know where he was. He said, I'm going to kill every baby in this land that are 2 years and under. 2 years and under, not every baby, but every male baby, every male baby. He said, every male baby in this country, he said, I want you all to kill them if they are 2 years old and under. This is the reason why he was going for the ones 2 years old and under, because what we got to understand is that Jesus around this time, now he had been in Egypt, now going on about, if you do a deeper study on this, they said that Jesus' life in Egypt ranged from about 1 to 4 years. Jesus' life in Egypt ranged from about 1 to 4 years. And so when Jesus was born, Joseph had the dream. They went to Egypt. It took them a while to get to Egypt, and it took the wise men a while. It took not the wise men, but it took King Herod a while to find out that the wise men wasn't coming back. And so all this time was compiling on top of each other. And what we got to understand is that it took about a span of 2 years for all of this to play out. Okay? It took a span of about 2 years for all of this to play out. And so King Herod made a decree that every child 2 years old and under must die. He said every child 2 years old and under must die. And so watch this. While they were in Egypt, other kids, babies were dying. Watch this. First thing I want to tell you right here, because what I need you to understand is that sometimes it looks like a setback, but it's really a setup. So the first thing I want to tell you is that my setback saved my life. Come on, I ain't got no talkers in here. Look at your neighbor and tell him, say, your setback saved your life. Watch this. What you talking about, preacher? What you talking about? Well, watch this. What we got to understand is that Jesus was an Israelite. Jesus was a Jew. And so the Jews once were enslaved in Egypt. For a span of 430 years, they were enslaved in Egypt. Come on, somebody. And so watch this. For them, y'all know how long it took them to come out of Egypt. Y'all know how long it took them even traveling around in the wilderness 40 years before they made it into the promised land. So now they are in the land that they were promised. But now God sent an angel telling Joseph, go back to the place where you was once bound. I ain't got no talkers in here. Go back to the place where your freedom was once held from you. Go back to the place where you was once enslaved. Go back to the place where you didn't have nobody on your side. Come on, go back to the place where things wasn't as pretty for you as it is now. Things weren't as good for you as it is now. Go back to that place. Look at your neighbor and say, go back to that place. So here they are. Here they are. Y'all know the story of Egypt. It was a bad place for the Israelites. It was a bad place for them. But yet and still, God used the bad place to save the life of his son. I want y'all to hear this. The place that once was meant for the destruction of God's children, God said, I'm going to use it for the salvation of my own child. Ain't got no talkers in here. He said, the place that was once used to destroy my children, I'm going to use it to save my children. Come on. So watch this. Where the place where I once called you out of, I'm going to send you back into. Come on, somebody. Listen, God is trying to tell somebody that you was maybe too eager to come out of there, that you missed it when I told you to go back. Y'all don't want to hear that. I said, God said you was too eager to come out of there that when I told you to go back, you said, God, no, that ain't you. That's the devil. That ain't you talking. I just came out of that. I just come out of that mess. I just come out of that stuff. And now you telling me it's time to go back. Well, guess what? Maybe you going back is what's going to save your life. Maybe you going back is what's going to be what propel you into your destiny. Maybe you going back is what's going to save not only your life, but the life of many. Ain't got no talkers in here. Listen, what if Joseph was disobedient and said, I'm not going to go back to Egypt because that's going backwards? God, you delivered us from Egypt. You brought us out of Egypt. And now you're telling me to go back to Egypt? Well, God said it doesn't matter what I tell you to do. I know sometimes that what God say may sound crazy. I know sometimes that what he say may sound stupid. You may not like it sometimes, but God said just do it anyway because there's a blessing in your obedience. Come on, look at somebody and tell them there's a blessing in your obedience. Yeah. It was my setback that saved my life. Come on. Some of y'all giving credit to all the wrong stuff. Y'all giving credit to your degrees. Y'all giving credit to your job. Y'all giving credit to your family, your wife, your husband, your children. Y'all giving them the credit for saving your life. No, it wasn't them that saved your life, but it was that setback. Come on, somebody. It was that time where you thought you was getting ahead, but you was really going backwards. I ain't got no talkers in here. And that time that you went backwards is what made you fall down on your knees and remember your God. I ain't got no talkers in the room. That time that you fell backwards when you was on rock bottom, when you had nobody else, you had no people to come, you had nobody to come and help you. Nobody came and said, I'm seeing about you. Nobody was there to tell you I love you. But watch this, while you were in that place, God said, I'm here with you. And because I'm here with you, I'll bring you out. All right, come on, somebody. Look at your neighbor and say, it was my setback. It was my setback that saved my life. Come on. It wasn't my good luck that brought me to where I am now. Because the truth be told, some of y'all, if it wasn't for your setback, you probably wouldn't be in this house today. Ain't got no talkers in here. For some of y'all, it was definitely your setback that saved your life. Come on, somebody. Because watch this. It was you having to hit rock bottom that caused you to go back to God and cry out to him again. It was because you hit rock bottom that brought you back into the house of God with hands lifted high, saying, God, what must I do to be saved? God, if you bring me out this time, God, I promise you I won't go back. God, if you bring me out this time, I promise you I'll lead them folks along. God, if you bring me out this time, I promise you I won't go back this time. God, just do it for me one more time. And the Lord said, I will do it because I love you. Come on, somebody. He said, I'll do it because I love you. Listen. So it was his setback. It looked like a setback, but it was really just a setup. Because if he had stayed in the land where he was, he would have died right along with the rest of them. But because he went to another territory, because he went under another kingdom, he was able to live a life, come on somebody, that he probably wouldn't have been able to live. Listen, and so now I got to go back, I got to go and talk to you about the life in Egypt. Look at your neighbor and say, the life in Egypt. Life in Egypt, life in Egypt, life in Egypt. Listen, for some of y'all, life in Egypt was good. For some of y'all, life in Egypt was all that in a bag of chips. Come on. Life in Egypt was everything that you could have hoped for. Life in Egypt was everything that you could have imagined. Life in Egypt was you going out and you having a good time with your girlfriends. Life in Egypt was you going out and having a good time with the guys, hanging out with the guys and doing what the guys do. I ain't got no talkers in here. And life in Egypt was everything that you wanted it to be and everything that you thought it would be. Listen, I remember my life in Egypt. And I don't know if y'all want to tell the truth, but I'll tell you the truth. My life in Egypt, I had fun. Ain't got no talkers in here. My life in Egypt, I had a good time. And while I was in Egypt, I didn't care who knew I was in Egypt. I ain't got no talkers in here. It didn't matter who knew I was in Egypt. I was in Egypt and I was doing my Egyptian thing. I wish I had a witness in here. Listen, I was living life just like the Egyptians. I was doing everything that the Egyptians do. I was out there partying. I was out there living it up. I was out there sleeping around. I ain't got no talkers in here. Everything that you did in Egypt, I probably did too. Life in Egypt. Life in Egypt. Listen, watch this. Watch this. I can just imagine that for those 1 to 4 years, however long Jesus was actually there, I could just imagine. Now, you got to understand that Jesus was a baby, so it really didn't matter to him. But to the parents, I could just imagine that life in Egypt was so at ease. They didn't have to worry about running. They didn't have to worry about looking over their shoulder, wondering if this man finna come and kill my baby. They didn't have to worry about some things. And so I imagine that while they were in this life in Egypt, they began to get complacent and they began to get comfortable in Egypt. Come on, somebody. Just like you, just like some of us in this house. Come on, we got comfortable while we was living in Egypt. We got comfortable doing the things that we was doing in Egypt. We got so comfortable that when we came to church, y'all know y'all never stopped coming to church. You was living in Egypt, but you still came to church. I ain't got no talkers in here. And so because we never stopped going to church, when we came to church, we heard the word. We seen the people praising. And some of us, we even praised right along with them. Some of us, we even worship right along with them. Some of us, we were dancing all around the church right along with them. All the whole time you were still living in Egypt. But watch this, the reason why you couldn't come out of Egypt, the reason why you didn't want to come out of Egypt is because Egypt felt so good to you. And you heard about all the goodness over here on the Lord's side. You heard it being preached about the goodness of the Lord and how good God is to his children. But you didn't worry. You didn't want to hear that because why? Egypt was so good to you. And so once again, though God sent you into Egypt to live and to get away from the things that was going on, God, he didn't send you there to get comfortable. He didn't send you there to grow comfortable. He didn't send you there to get complacent. He didn't send you there to stay. Look at your neighbor and say, he didn't send me there to stay. He didn't send me there to stay. He didn't send me there to stay. But watch this. Some of us, we got to understand that Egypt can also be an assignment. Egypt can also be an assignment. So look here, sometimes we hear the voice of God and God will tell us to go back to some places that we have once come out of. He'll tell us to go back to some places that we've been delivered from. Now, one thing about it is God ain't going to send you back too quick. You got to understand that though they was in Egypt for a span of 430 years, there was another 2,000 years in between when they got delivered and when he told Joseph to go back. Come on, somebody. There was another 1,000 years between when they came out and when he told them to go back. So listen here, I want you to understand that when God is trying to send you back into a place that you just come out of, listen, he's not going to send you back too quick. But listen, sometime when he know that you fully delivered and he know that he can trust you, he'll send you back into the place that you once came out of because you know how to deal with them people better than some other folk. I ain't got no talkers in here. You know how to deal with the Egyptians. Paul said, when I'm in Rome, I do as the Romans do. He said, but when I'm around others, I do as they do. Whatever, he said, I become all things to all men so that I may win some. I ain't got no talkers in here. And so God will sometimes send you on an assignment into Egypt to bring the Egyptians out too. I got to move on. I told y'all I was going to be quick. What I'm looking like on time. What I'm looking like. Come on. And so watch this. We got to understand. That we're not going to continue living comfortably in Egypt. Because watch this. The life in Egypt, yes, it can be good, but the life in Egypt is dangerous. It can be good, but the life in Egypt is dangerous. Because listen, when I'm living in Egypt, I'm not living on the Lord's side. When I'm living in Egypt, I'm not doing the things according to the word. When I'm living in Egypt, I'm living in my flesh and I'm not living in the spirit. I ain't got no talkers in here. And so watch this. Sometime we got to understand that God will turn our situation around in such a way that it will cause us, when we once was living in Egypt, when we was once going through the Egyptian lifestyle, he will send some things our way. He'll send some circumstances our way to make us fall to our face again and say, God, I'm ready to come up out of this thing. God, I'm ready to move on. God, where I am right now, I realize that you're not here. Where I am right now, God, I realize that you're not in this. Come on, somebody. I ain't got no talkers in here. And so we got to understand that God will send you there sometime, but listen, it's not to get comfortable there. Look at your neighbor and say, don't get comfortable. So he told them to go back to Egypt. He said, go back to the place. I know you was once enslaved there and your people was enslaved there. But he said, I'm sending you back there because this is going to save your life. But it's only for a season. It's only for a season. It's not for the rest of your life. It's only for a season. He said, because I need to spare your life through this. I need to spare your life through this. And so watch this. Watch this. While I was living in Egypt, I heard the call. While I was living in Egypt, I heard the call. Listen, the Bible said that later on, after King Herod had died, the Bible said that the angel of the Lord came back to Joseph in a dream again and told Joseph that Herod, the one who was looking to kill the son, the one who was looking to kill the baby, he said he's dead now. So now you can return back to your country. Listen, watch this. I want you to understand that no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're facing and dealing with in life, God will always send forth the call when it's time to come out. He will always send forth the call when it's time for you to come out. And so watch this. At the set and appointed time, he sent the angel of the Lord back to Joseph in a dream and said, now tell Joseph it's time to come out. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say it's time to come out. Listen, Joseph, like I said, Joseph and them, they was there. And they didn't have to worry about Herod. They didn't have to worry about the dangers. They didn't have to worry about the circumstances that was going on over in their country. But watch this. When the voice of the Lord came back and told them that Herod is gone now, Herod is dead now, and it's time for you to come out of Egypt. When he heard the word and said that it's time for you to come out, he didn't hold himself back. He said, God, at your word, I'm ready to move. Look at your neighbor and say, at your word, I'm ready to move. But some of us, we were so comfortable in Egypt that when we heard the word, we still stayed in Egypt. Come on, I said when we heard the word, we stayed there in Egypt. But watch this. I believe that the Lord is still calling some people in this room even now. I can hear the clarion call saying to my people, it's time to come out. I can hear the summons that God is sending out to his people saying it's time to come out. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say it's time, it's time, it's time, it's time. I have been where I am for too long. I have been in this place for too long. And watch this. Sometimes it takes us getting fed up with where we are in order to heed the call. Because a lot of us, we're not like Joseph. We're not just listening and running just as soon as we hear the voice. Because some of y'all, you had to sit there and you had to calculate and you had to make sure that it's God. You had to play around with it and say, God, is this really you? Because you don't really have a relationship with him. He said, my children, he said, my sheep know my voice. And so watch this. If you're really his sheep, then you'll know his voice. If you're really his children, you'll know the voice of your father. And so you wouldn't have to question if this God, when God tell you to move, you'll move just like that. I ain't got no talkers in here. If God told you to do something, you'll do it. If God said it's time, you'll know that it's time. Because why? I heard the voice of God. But so many of us, we'll sit there and we'll stay in that same place saying, God, I don't know if this really you. Watch this. Joseph even had doubts himself. Because the Bible said that when Joseph came out, he was told to return to Bethlehem. But Joseph was still afraid of the king, not knowing if the next king still had the same heart like the other king. And so Joseph, instead of him going right into the place where he was told to go, the Bible said that he went and he lived in Nazareth. So that it may be fulfilled what the prophet said, that he would be Jesus from Nazareth. I ain't got no talkers in here. And so watch this. He went and he detoured. He didn't go right to where God told him to go. And some of us, we'll do the same thing. We'll hear the voice of God, but we won't just directly go in the line that God told us to go. Some of us will take a detour. But God said, listen, watch here. You got to understand that even your detour, God can make it, he can make it twist and turn just so that you align right back up to where you're supposed to be. I don't know about y'all, but some of us in this room, we on detours right now. Y'all don't want to talk to me. Some of us, you living your life on a detour right now. But I hear the Lord saying it's time to come out. I ain't got no talkers in here. You ain't doing the things that you used to do, but you ain't doing what you're supposed to do either. I ain't got no talkers in here. You ain't doing what you used to do, but you ain't doing what you was called to do. I wish I had a church in here. You ain't doing the stuff that you used to do. You ain't doing how much you used to do. Oh God, I slacked off a little bit. I settled down a little bit. I ain't messing with as many women as I used to mess with. I ain't sleeping with as many men as I used to sleep with. I ain't smoking as much dope as I used to smoke. I ain't drinking as much as I used to drink. But the Lord said, I didn't call you to do a detour. I called you to come out of this. Look at your neighbor and say, it's time to come out. Let's come out. Time to come out. Time to come out. Time to come out. He said, I didn't call you to slow it down. I called you to come out. I didn't call you to stop for a season, but I called you to come out. Ooh, I wish I had help in here. I wish I had help in here. Listen. But the Bible, the Lord told me, he said, the reason why some of my people can't come out, the reason why some of my people can't come out is because they just like Lazarus was. I heard the Spirit of the Lord say the reason why they can't come out is because they just like Lazarus was. I said, God, what are you talking about? He said, Lazarus was on the other side of the stone. Lazarus was on the other side of the stone. And the Lord said, until they learn how to remove the stone, they're going to still be in Egypt. I wish I had help in here. He said, until they learn how to remove the stone, until they learn how to move that thing that's hindering them from coming out, until they learn how to move that thing that's blocking them from fully coming out, then they're gonna remain right where they are. You can't leave the grave if they don't remove the stone. Look at your neighbor and tell them, say, you can't leave the grave if they don't remove the stone. Listen, some of y'all got so many stones in your life, it's gonna take an army to move them. So you guys got so many stones in your life, it's going to take an army to move them. But God said, just as that one man had a legion of demons in him, God said, I got a legion of angels that's ready to take charge of your situation. Ain't got no talkers in here. He said, I got a legion of angels that's ready to come down and see about you, ready to come down and remove that stone, ready to come down and remove every blockage, every hindrance, everything that's holding you back, everything that's keeping you blocked, everything that's keeping you trapped. God said, I got a legion of angels that's ready to come to your rescue. Oh, I wish I had a church in here today. Look at somebody and tell your neighbor, say, God is getting ready to come and fight on your behalf. He's getting ready to come and send his angels to war for you. He's getting ready to come and send his angels to remove every stumbling block, to remove every blockage, to remove every hindrance. Is there anybody in the room that can lift up your hands and say, God, I'm ready to come out, but there's some things that's blocking me. God, I'm ready to come out, but there's some things that's in my way. God, I'm ready to come out. And when I come out, I'm coming out with my hands up. When I come out, I'm coming out with my hands lifted. When I come out, I'm coming out with a praise on my lips. When I come out, I'm coming out better than I went in. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, when I come out this time, I said, when I come out this time, it won't be the same it won't be the same man that it used to be. You gonna look at me differently. When you see me this time, you won't recognize me. When you see me this time, it's gonna be a glory on me. When you see me this time, it's gonna be like you see somebody brand new. Look at your neighbor, tell your neighbor, I'm coming out of this. Come on. Tell your neighbor, say, I'm coming out. I wish I had a church right here. Look at somebody and tell them, I'm coming out. No matter what it looked like, I'm coming out. No matter what it seemed like, I'm coming out. No matter what it feel like, I'm coming out. I know the devil said that I'll be in this place always, but you ought to look at somebody and just remind them real quick that the devil is a liar and the father of lies. I said the devil is a liar and he's the father of lies. He lied to you when he said you're going to remain where you are. He lied to you when he said you'll never make it. He lied to you when he said that you'll never be anything. He lied to you when he said that you'll never succeed. He lied to you when he said that you won't see the promise come to pass. But I'm here to tell somebody that God is coming to your rescue. I said God is coming to your rescue. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Watch this, the devil lied to you, but Jesus said, I'm coming with the truth. And Jesus said that I'm getting ready to speak some truth into your life. What is that truth? Jesus said that you are who I said you are. He said that you are the redeemed of Christ. He said that you are joint heirs with Christ. He said that you are a friend of God. He said that you are above and not beneath. He said that you are the lender and not the borrower. He said that you are the head and not the tail. He said that you are blessed in the city. He said you're blessed in the field. He said you're blessed when you're going out and you're blessed when you're coming in. I wish I had a witness in here. Shake your neighbor's hand and tell your neighbor, say, I'm getting ready to come out of this. I've been in the storm for too long. I've been in the storm for too long. And this time, I said this time, I had to endure high winds. I had to endure heavy rain. I had to endure thunderous thunder. I had to endure the lightning flashing. But I hear the Lord say that the storm is getting ready to blow over. He said the storm is getting ready to blow over. And though you've been there for too long, the Lord said you're coming out. Look at somebody and say, I'm coming out. Tell them I'm coming out. 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 Tell them it's my time to come out the storm. It's my time to come out of the rain. It's my time to come out of the grave. Grave can't hold me. Death can't shake me. Come on, wind can't break me. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I'm coming out. Come on, come on. Tell him I'm coming out. I'm coming out. I'm coming out. He told her, remove the stone. He said, remove the stone. And when they removed the stone, that's when he called Lazarus. And he told Lazarus, he said, Lazarus, come forth. He said, Lazarus, come forth. The reason why he had to call Lazarus, because the power that he possessed in his words was enough power that everybody that was in the grave, they could have got up if he wasn't specific. But I just believe that the Lord is coming down your road and he's getting ready to call you by your name. And I believe that when he make it down your road and when he call you by your name, he gonna say, Junior, it's time to come forth. He gonna say, Rosie, it's time to come forth. He gonna say, Terrell, it's time to come forth. He gonna say, Kim, it's time to come forth. Ain't got no witnesses in here. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's time for you to come out. Call them by their name. I said call them by their name. Whoever your neighbor is, you got to be specific in this season. Call them by their name and tell them, say, God told me to tell you. I said, God told me to tell you. I said, God told me to tell you. It's time for you to come out of this. It's time for you to come out of this. Lift your hand, open up your mouth, and tell somebody, I'm coming out. I'm coming out. I'm coming out. I'm coming out. Come on, come on, come on. Somebody give God a praise. Come on, come on. Somebody give God a praise. I said, somebody give God a praise. Somebody give God a praise. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Some of y'all, you forgot to praise him before you went in. Some of y'all forgot to praise him while you was going through the struggle. But don't forget to praise him. I said, don't forget to praise him. I I said, don't forget to praise him when you come out. I'm coming out with a praise on my lips, a praise in my feet, clapping in my hand. Tell somebody I'm coming out. Come on, tell them I'm coming out. I'm coming out. Tell them I'm coming out. I'm coming out. Somebody just got to encourage yourself. You just got to tell yourself, I know I've been going through for too long, but I'm coming out. I've been crying too long, but I'm coming out. Been laying awake for too long, but I'm coming out. I've been suffering for too long, but I'm coming out. I said I'm coming out. I'm coming out. You don't need nobody to prophesy to you, but be your own prophet. Prophesy to yourself. Prophesy to your situation. Prophesy to your situation. Tell your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, I'm coming out. Come on, you ought to tell them I'm coming out. I said, tell your neighbor I'm coming out. Come on, somebody. Somebody tell them I'm coming out. You ought to just look at that grave. You ought to look at that grave that once held you and ask that grave a question. Say, grave, where's your victory? Come on, come on, come on. Grave, where is your victory? Come on, actually say, grave, where's your victory? But then you got to tell them you don't have none because I got it all. I said, you don't have none because I got it all. Victory belonged to me. I said, victory belonged to me. I said, victory belonged to me. There's an old song we used to sing. Said, victory is mine. I said, victory is mine. Victory today. You ought to declare it, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. I don't have to wait till 2020, but right here, right now, I decree that victory today is mine. If you know it's yours, somebody ought to rejoice in victory. Somebody ought to celebrate in victory. Open up your mouth and shout in victory. Shout unto God with a voice of triumph. Shout unto God with a voice of triumph. Yeah. I told you last week that it's time to walk in victory. It's time to walk in victory. Come on, come on. It's time to walk in victory. So you have to start decreeing the thing over your life. You have to start decreeing the thing over your life that I am victorious over every circumstance. I am victorious over every trial, over every tribulation. I am victorious. Come on, I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I will not be defeated. I will not be defeated. You thought you had me. You thought you had me, but I got away. You thought you had me, but I made it. You thought you had me, but I slipped through your fingers. You thought you had me, but I had a God that wanted me even more. And he was willing to come down and snatch me out of the mouth of the fiery pit. And I thank God. I thank God that I won't have to go through what I just come out of. Listen, when you pass a test, you don't have to go back and retest on that same situation again. So somebody ought to be happy that God, what I just endured, what I just come through, what I just overcame, I won't have to go through it no more. Somebody just came through the worst season of their life. But I hear the Lord saying, because you came through right, because you went through right, and because you passed the test, you won't have to endure that trial ever again. You won't have to endure that fight ever again. I know it was a tough time. But you know the best part about it? You made it. I know it was hard. I know you shed a lot of tears, but guess what? You made it. Come on, I know you thought that you was going to have a nervous breakdown. I know you thought that you weren't going to be able to see your way through with this thing. I know you thought you weren't going to be able to make it out of this, but guess what? You made it. Look at somebody and tell them you made it. You made it. It's time to come out. It's time to remove the stone. God is calling you, saying that what was once after you is no longer after you. So you can come out now. What was set out to kill you, it wasn't going to prosper anyway. And since it didn't prosper, God said, come out of hiding. Come out of hiding. Come out of that crying mode. Come out of that worrying mode.